Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome back to the full-time show with the host, the Governor. I'm glad you could be with us. This is your part of the show, okay? You've heard my views throughout the night. I now want to hear from you guys and girls. Tell me what you think of that. Surely one of the worst nights to be an Ipswich Town fan, capped off by the most stupidest of red card I think you're ever going to see from a bloke in a Town shirt. I don't know. Tell me what you feel. For those yesterday saying, why are we protesting? Were you watching? And if you were, and you still don't know why we were protesting, get yourself on this show, because I want to know why you're against the protest. Because that today, for me, was the single worst performance I think I've ever seen. I think that's up there with Wednesday at home under Chris Hutchinson, where we didn't even show up for that. 3-0 down inside, 5, 10, 15 minutes? I don't know. Tell me what you're feeling. The link is in the chat. Get yourself on the show. As always, I'm joined by Steve and Neil. Before we bring you guys and girls in, Steve, first of all, kick us off. I'm a bit lost for words because I'm really angry. I'm almost seething. What do you feel tonight?
Where the fuck do you start with that? It was awful from start to finish. There was no positives. Not one person put in a good performance. It was embarrassing. Even the commentators didn't know what the hell was going on, what to say. Topped off with a ridiculous red card.
Brenna Woolley and Mick Mills were in banter hour, Neil. Like you know, a manager is on these last legs when the commentators aren't even bothered what they say anymore. It's like when Mick Mills said, "Well, hang on, Brenna, it's Norwood coming on, but he could be playing at the back." Ho! That was a shot to the heart. That was
brilliant. Yeah,
because
they were laughing, saying, "Finally, a change of formation." They basically were saying that the subs should have happened at half time, and yeah.
When Norwood went one-on-one, Steve, were you saying score, or were you in the heart of hearts? Were you saying, "Oh, please don't score"?
I was really torn because obviously I wanted him to score so badly, but then I thought if he doesn't, it could be over.
It was a feeble attempt.
It was a crap attempt.
It was a really crap attempt. But it was almost like you didn't want him to score, and I never want that as a Town fan because I want my team to win every single game. But I truly feel this was the end of times. This felt really bad. Matthew, I'm embarrassed by that. How awful. Emerson Weather, the ref should have sent himself off.
It was amazing, the judge.
Rod Smith, if that twat comes out and said we played well, it's truly. I don't think he'll do the press. I don't think he will do the press. No. Davis Hughes, Downs giving Lambert his excuse. No, you can't use that as an excuse. And if he does, I'd like the commentators to put him up on that because it was too late in the game to change anything.
What was happening with the judge verbals and the fact that the ref wanted to square up to him and 3 Town players had to stop him?
I saw Downs jump in there. I wasn't 100% sure what happened, but because obviously the whole thing happened with Judge and diving and everything. And then I saw, the ref just properly squared up to him.
Yeah. And
I saw Downs trying to stop him. I'm assuming Martin has gone. It's just frozen on my screen.
Yeah, and mine.
Oh dear.
Yeah, the ref should get in trouble for that because no referee should be doing
terrible. That was awful. We're supposed to, maintain an air of professionalism and dignity. Did not do that at all.
No.
There was no discipline from the ref. There was no discipline from the Ipswich players. That's 3 red cards in almost as many games, it feels, with Bishop and Downs and now Bishop and Jackson and now Downs. So
yeah, well, they were saying what's his name? Dazelle could be close to a match ban or whatever, but he didn't. We pushed on in the second half, didn't we? Tried to get something out of it, but still,
that one feeble attempt from Norwood was absolutely terrible. As a Town fan, you should never want your team to lose. And I don't want the team to lose, but you sort of feel that if they do, things can't get any worse, surely. But
you're letting the Lambert off the hook, aren't you? If they win,
yeah. So this could be the final nail. Yeah, I don't know where Martin's gone. It's just sort of left us now. There's people waiting. I don't know.
It's ours.
So yeah, let's talk Formula 1. No, I'm good. We've taken over. No, I was embarrassing. I mean, I came into the game thinking we might be able to score. Parrott looked good last time. Tonight he looked awful. It was miserable. I mean, Norwood came on. I thought they were going to do 4-4-2, but did they do 4-4-2?
I'm not sure what they did in the end. Lancaster, he played okay, but yeah, Judge was all right as well. Pretty much all the subs that came on. Bishop changed the game a little bit. He played well.
Yeah, I think Judge was probably the sub that made the most impact. He was setting Norwood up, and that was about he made more of an impact. Had a fight with the ref. That's what you want, but I'm stunned.
Have you got me?
Stunned. Yeah, there we go.
There we go. You see, you pay for cheap internet, you get absolute dog shit. I'm coming for you. You start with a T and you end in the T. I'm coming for you. It's been off and on all night. Ben Adams. Ben, welcome in. Oh, good God, he's drinking. Good God, he's drinking. What did you make of that? Sorry, I dipped out there.
Do you know what? I don't know what to say. I'm absolutely stunned, speechless.
What did you say
I got it wrong yesterday. I don't think the protest side of it, although it's okay. Arguably after that, okay, maybe there's an argument for it. I'll concede that. But I think I said that the team is still playing for Lambert because none of them are good enough to get into a team when he's not the manager. Well, you talk about Judge's reaction. Did you see Judge when he was just about to come on as a substitute and he spoke with Lambert in his ear and Lambert was giving him the tactics and then Lambert turned away and Judge looked behind, he went like this. I thought that is everything you want to know about what's going on at this club at the moment.
It says it all, doesn't it?
So my thing is, okay, we all know that unless it's Chambers that gets pissed off, managers don't get changed. So Chambers has actually got a very interesting little conundrum right now because even now he's being dropped. I think if there's any pressure from the players to actually go to Everton and say, we're done, we can't even think it's got to come from someone like Chambers. I don't know whether the players need to get involved more.
I feel uneasy about that.
I think I do too, but does it match the unease we all kind of feel after that? That was something different. That was something that we haven't seen before. That's the worst performance I have ever watched in 30 years of Ipswich Town. We always ask, what is the low point? Where do we go from here? Tonight's it. That's rock bottom.
Woeful.
I don't know what more to say. It's rock bottom.
Have you seen a worse display in your as a fan?
I've seen us lose badly. I've seen us get pulverised, but I've always seen us try and at least play with a bit of pride. That's the kind of the football cliche. Okay, play with pride for the last 20 minutes and see the game out. We didn't even have that tonight. The subs, when they came on, marginally better. I think Norwood was, he had a couple of good chances. Lancaster is just same as Drinnan. He's just a non-entity till he leaves. I think Judge came on and linked up really well with Norwood. I mean, he was anticipating everything. I think the commentators called it. He was feeding everything to Norwood. That was good. And for a team that can't play 4-4-2, it's funny how every single game that's how we end up, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's starting to he's almost done it at McCarthy. As he comes to the end of his reign, he's starting to do 4-4-2 just to throw you a bone of hope and think, actually, is he that bad? Russell Clayton, welcome in. Let's be fair, that was disgusting from the players. I want to bring in Beep Man quickly. Too many beeps, so I'll have to remove you because I've got a migraine, Steve. But I've been on that train for a while in terms of players have to take responsibility. But today has gone too far in terms of that, right? Because there's responsibility from players, then they're not really here for you. They don't want to play for you. They're not bothered. They're going through motions. Today was a real motion game, wasn't it?
They are like us. They're just waiting for Marcus Evans to make a call. They don't care. There was no passion. Mick Mills said it right after about 10 minutes. This is sad. It looked pathetic. Yeah? Let's stop talking about we're 4 points off the top 6. This is a relegation team. We don't look anywhere near like a promotion side. We can, every time we play 23rd, we don't win. Let's get a grip. We are where we are. Lambert has to go. Regardless how it's done, I don't care if someone shoves him in a bag, posts him off to bloody Scotland. Get shut. He needs to go. We've had enough. He's destroying this club inside out and back to front. Afterwards, we can deal with Evans. But let's get rid of one problem first, then we can solve the other one next. And
absolutely.
You can turn me off because I've spent a lot of money on my dryer. I'm a bit pissed off. So, and I know you don't want to hear any more beats anyway.
Stephen, I'd never
actually lining up the level of things which have to happen. If you've got a gangrenous arm, First you cut off the fucking arm, then you deal with the gangrene. I totally agree with that. Actually, it's too much of a thing for anyone to do the whole Lambert and Evans things in the same problem. Evans that's 5 years off him going whatever, but Lambert for the moment, you're right. As far as immediacy is concerned, I think that is the thing that should be focused on. Now, I've got this gut feeling tonight was a watershed moment. I think I've said it before, but I think in the next couple of days it's going to change.
I do think
tomorrow morning.
I do think if someone comes in, there's enough time in this season not to make a difference and make a challenge, but to get an idea of what players are needed to be kept. That's got to be the key for any new. Don't bring someone in with 3 or 4 games to go. He won't have a long enough time to know the players he needs to keep and who he needs to get rid of. He needs a few games, a few games leeway from us, a few games leeway to say, I'm going to change a lot of players. I'm going to see who I want. I'm going to see who I don't want. And then come summer, have a huge call. That's what we need.
Stephen, I'll let you go. And I know you're feeling upset about your dry, and I'm really sorry about that, mate. But you are loved in the chat. There's lots of beeps. There's lots of, oh, Jimmy Bullard, you are the love of my life. Oh, Jimmy Bullard. Yes, the show's Jimmy Bullard. Stephen, we love you and always appreciate you on this show. Take care of yourself. All right, stay smiling. One day Lambert won't be manager. I promise you that. Josh Russell, welcome in. What did you make of today's absolute shit show?
Diabolical. It's the only word I've got for it.
Yeah. I love the room, by the way.
I love the beard. Good man. It's coming.
It's putting you to shame there, Ben. It really is. Ben says this is the end of, this is it. It feels like the last throw in the next coming days. Do you agree with that? Was today for you like just nothing, no passion, no flair, no danger, no nothing? It was just turrid.
100%. I think today showed the players don't want to play for him anymore. Even Parra was crap, and he's been good the last 2 games.
Okay.
Neil,
I'm gonna park you there because Lee would disagree. I know he would, because at half time, fucking hell. Wait, you don't disagree?
I'm a beaten man. It's time. Enough is enough. Harry said it in the chat to me. It's time. Everything points now. I've always said that there will be a point, and that point, I agree with Ben. That point is now. It has to change.
Yeah,
it has to change.
It's bottom of the barrel. It's last chance. Do you know if everything leading up to this, there's always been arguments. Is it the team selection wrong? Is it whatever it is? I feel like if this is a relationship, you've been fighting with your partner, but tonight you've just walked in on them with your best friend, and it's time to walk away.
Yeah, regardless with excuses, doesn't matter, injuries, players, money, investment. There comes a point in the season where you look at it and think, we just need a new voice. And I've said before, sometimes you just need to be, you don't have to be good, you just have to be lucky. Someone could come in now, change it around a little bit. We can still make the playoffs. But I think it's, regardless of whether we make the playoffs or not, it's time now, isn't it? It's woeful. Probably one of the worst. I don't agree with Ben. It's the worst game I've ever seen, because I think the 0-0 with Wigan a few years ago under McCarthy.
I remember that. Yeah,
on a Tuesday night was pretty dire for me because it was cold as well. But
I was there.
It was one of those performances, and I've said before, that was the game that made me give my season ticket up before. And I think it's that point now with everything that's going on. As I said in the chat earlier, there was more flair on the training ground yesterday than we had on the pitch tonight. So it's just awful.
I'll tell you what, online sales of flares just went up 40%.
Yeah, you look a beaten Manly.
Just nothing. It is woeful. The tactics are all wrong now. There was nothing there. I mean, we bring Norwood on. We play 2 up front. We look a bit livelier. The game opens up a bit. Lancaster comes on and does well. I'm really repeating what you're saying, Ben, to be fair, but something has to change.
Absolutely.
I want to give you a hug. I want to give you a hug, man.
Yeah,
I feel the empathy for you. I just want to come over there, give you a hug, tell you it's going to be okay. Yeah. I don't think I could tell you it's going to be okay because I think we're all fucked.
Yeah, well, we are until he is. I think he goes. I think this is it. The last 24 hours I truly believe that. In the bottom of my stomach, I can feel it. And I saw a couple of rumours that he was there tonight, Evans. I don't know if he actually was. Just a rumour.
I saw that. Someone posted some picture up of some office or something with Evans in it or something.
Yeah, and if he was, I'd be fearful if I was Mr. Lambert. But to have a fan like Lee who's optimistic to the extreme, go, that's it, it's over. Yeah, we've just seen the water approach the bridge of the Titanic, I think.
I'd just like to say about the ref tonight. I mean, regardless of what Downs did, she keep his mouth shut. But I thought the referee was going to headbutt.
He looked like he squared up with him.
He went referee again.
Yeah, I thought he was going to headbutt him. It looked like they were going to go head to head. And the ref lost it from that point. And that's when you need leaders on the pitch. Because whatever level we've all played at in any sport, you get people around and you say, come on, lads, look, he's waiting to send somebody off. He's waiting to give you a yellow card or a red card. Don't give him the opportunity. Get on with it and move on to the game and just play the game. And we lost it because Downs got sent off for verbals. I mean, when you hear I've seen a lot of the away games without any commentary, and the verbals that the referees get is dreadful. So it couldn't have been any worse than what they get week in, week out. I'm not saying it's right, and Downs is wrong to do it, but the ref was just waiting for it. I mean, there will be an inquiry, I'm sure. I mean, Lambert was fuming. Regardless of what we think about Lambert, if I was the manager, I would be distraught at that, and I'd be making a complaint.
Yeah, but
was it penalty? Was it penalty? Would have been a soft one, perhaps. But if that had been the other way round, just the luck we have and the way we seem to be with the club, if that would have been in the other penalty box, that would have probably been a penalty. I think it's just how we are. And as I say, somebody new in, change the direction,
All right, guys. Lee, Ben, Josh, appreciate you. I've got people waiting. I'll bring them in.
Cheers,
appreciate every one of you. Look after yourselves. So I'll bring back Neil. And I've got wow. Wow, indeed. Look at that sexy face. And Yatesy as well. Welcome in, guys. How you doing? Shower sugary shite. Wow, kick us off. What are you feeling after tonight? Oh, sorry, Ben. There you, mate.
You go ahead, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I mean, that to me is the worst I've ever seen Ipswich play. That weren't football. That was just 11 players running around trying to kick a ball. Some of the passes that were going astray, we were lucky not to lose that, and while Norwood coming on was a he should have come on at half time, but the reality is, and we talk about Downs getting sent off, that was always going to happen. One of our players is going to get sent off. Look at them, they're all running, they've not got no urgency, they've got no, even when there was like 5 minutes to go, Holy was still not really sort of desperate to get the ball out, no real demand for the ball, no sort of players putting in loads of effort and stuff like that. When Dazelle came off, he looked like a beaten young lad. I mean, this whole club is. I mean, that to me is the worst. I had to. Do you know what? The thing I'm looking forward to the most tonight is the post match interview with Lambert. That is the thing I'm looking forward to the most, to see what drivel comes out of his mouth. How can he disguise this? How can he even? I was going to say earlier, I could have taken a draw if we'd have actually scored. If it was 1-1 or 2-2, it wouldn't have been as bad because at least we'd have made an effort. We'd have actually tried. But there was, like you say, Mike, no effort at all. We never looked like scoring from the first minute. Apart from that one little thing with Norwood and Judge, that was about it.
One shot on target against Northampton Town, who were sitting fourth from bottom.
Well, what did I say last night? I said it would be 0-0, and our first shot would be around 70th minutes, and I'm so upset that is the case. It's got to a point where our club has got so predictable in the sense that we can't get into the opposition half in the first half, and then when we are able to, by about the 70th minute, when they've tired out a bit, we have a pot shot which always ends up either being a miss or a fantastic save by the keeper on their part. But it's a sad state of affairs when you get to a point and I'm able to almost predict when we're going to have a shot, what score it's going to be. I mean, you look at the attitude of the players at the end of the game there. It's just arguing. It's disjointed. It's like what commentary said. It's sad watching us. It's sad watching us to a point where, I mean, I remember in games in the past that I've been glued to the TV, like certainly not under Lambert's management, but games under past that I've been glued to watching them. I wouldn't ever take my eyes off the pitch, but we're at a stage where I'm nipping in the kitchen to go do things. I'd much rather.
I was doing my Tesco order.
Yeah, it's got to a point where fans are switching off.
When you get some tissues, Martin.
I was comfort buying.
Comfort buying. Tomorrow, Tesco's is going to be out of chocolate.
Donuts in that trolley.
Yeah, you know.
Mike, what would you say to somebody in the chat who has posted? I'm just trying to find it.
Dear.
What can Lambert do when the players keep losing their discipline?
It's Lambert's job to keep their discipline, isn't it? You know, as a coach, you don't have much control once they're on that pitch, okay? But in my, I talk about youth football. In my team, you know, there's been one or two players that have, in the past, that have been what I call real problems. You know, they've let their aggression rule their head, and that's affected their football, and they've got themselves, you know, removed from the pitch, basically. And it's our job as a manager, a youth coach, is to actually educate them and say, look, you know, I get why you're frustrated, but you need to let your feet do the talking. And the problem is, these are grown adults, and yet they're losing their heads. And that says to me,
I would love to know how many red cards. I'm certain that under McCarthy's management, we didn't even have this many red cards in this squad.
Well, no,
but in such a short amount of time, we've managed to accumulate so many red cards. It's like you say there, Mike. It's up to the management to train them. So if you're going to foul someone, preferably do it cleanly. If you're going to leave a leg in, don't make it so obvious. But it's.
George Blackwell, anyone check Cruncher's alive? I'll bring Tom in. Tom, discipline, huge issue. Somebody says, what can Lambert do when players can't stay on the pitch? Obviously, injuries as well. Is it a fair point, or do you just not want to bring hellfire and brimstone down on the Paul Lambert reign? You all right, Tom? No, all right. I feel the same way, Tom. I'll bring Sid in. Sid, what do you think about discipline and Paul Lambert? Do you agree? Disagree? What do you want?
It comes down to him at the end of the day.
100%.
absolutely.
It's his coaching style. You've only got to look at the record. I think Statman put it up on Twitter. I think it was when Caden got his red card a few weeks ago. We've had more red cards under Lambert than we have under any of the managers under Evans. It's a complete joke.
So,
but the whole past year, 2 years has been
just to update you. Paul Lambert is doing post match this evening. It wasn't good enough. Is the opening answer? It wasn't good enough. Is the opening answer? What would you say back to that, Mike? If he said to you, "Look, Mike, it wasn't good enough."
Yeah, it hasn't been good enough for a long time, Lambert. How about you grab your P45, hand it into Evans, and then get the first train back to Glasgow? Yeah. I mean, no disrespect, right? But your football, your style of football, your style of management, your coaching staff are all a pile of shit. Go. I've had enough. Don't want you here anymore.
Couldn't said it better.
But is it not an improvement, Curtis, that he's actually coming out and saying, look, you know what, holds hands up, it wasn't good enough? He's not saying it was impressive.
How many times have we heard
it's beyond that now, isn't it?
It's too fucking late.
How many
every
times
time we hear that
week on week, and every so often they'll throw in like a Burton, a Blackpool. They might throw in a Crew, and they'll say, "Oh well, you know what? Today the game plan worked." How many weeks do we have to hear? Well, it wasn't good enough.
10 years ago, 10 years ago, did we honestly think as fans we'd be having this conversation about playing teams in you know, that like Northampton in the league? You know, Crew, Accrington, Stanley, who are above us. I mean, it was bad enough losing 5-0 to Norwich, but this is a new low.
Ipswich Town is now a club, whereas I used to see people, especially last season, they were saying now, "Oh, it's only Crew, it's only Swindon." It's now only Ipswich Town. That is it.
Yeah.
Teams are coming to us and they're saying it's only Ipswich. It's only Ipswich. We this image of big club in a small league, we are faltering. We are slowly dropping down that league to the point where we can't be classed. We can't be saying to these teams, "Oh well, it's only Northampton." Northampton played us off the park today, and they were bad. They were bad. And yet
the difference between Northampton and us is they had a game plan, and they stuck to their game.
They're hungry,
and they're 100%. Sid, you know, they wanted it. You know, they wanted to play football, and sometimes a little bit of hoofball, but it was every second ball. It was like a Northampton player got it. They headed more balls than us. They got more tackles in than us. We gave balls. I think it was 8 free kicks to their 0 at one point.
Yeah. Sid mentions a game plan, Tom, to try and bring you back. What was the game plan tonight? Because one shot on target, we held the ball a bit, but what was the game plan? No, Sid. What? Steve, what was the game plan? Tom,
won't one.
Tom, you want to stop using the string and the 2 tin cans, mate? That's my internet provider, and it's not gone well for me either. But what was the game plan? One shot on target. Like, we talk about a game plan. When you come into today's game, can you look at it and say, well, our game plan was a possession corner based. It was a cross based. It was a fast. Like Northampton, to their credit, started the game really well on the front foot. The attacking mindset.
I saw no plan there at all. They all played like strangers. I think even McMill said they were playing
Our
like
game
strangers.
plan's always.
They'd never.
It's quite sad.
Our game plan's always possession based.
Sorry.
Yeah, but possession based without any actual impetus, Neil. Like, you've got to cross the halfway line eventually. Like, even Harold at Battle of Hastings eventually tried to engage the enemy. You know, you've got to eventually decide you're going to go and fight somebody.
I like
not the referee.
In the second half, Parrott pinpointed a ball through a whole group of players to our centre back. I was thinking, well, if we can do it that way, why can't we do it the other way?
Amen, Neil. Amen. Absolutely spot on. That I'm glad you pointed out. I was thinking that a minute ago while we're chatting. That is absolutely spot on, mate. You know, we can do passes backwards, and sometimes it looks quite good. But I'll tell you what I noticed as well. What was Flynn Downs doing in the back three tonight? He kept dropping in that back three. If we're playing a 4-4-2, and I know our wing backs have got to go forward, but there's no need to drop in a back three when we're not in the defensive. We're in the defensive phase of the game. We've got the ball, so the object of that ball is to get that ball forward. And there's no good sitting there as a 3 at the back with a holding midfielder playing as part of the 3 of the centre backs. And that's where Northampton exploited us as well, because they were getting in that hole that Downs was leaving in the midfield.
Did you see enough of Montre today, Sid?
Mm-hmm. Was he playing?
Classic. Well, he was. He had a few good moments, but nothing overall. I mean, Mike, that Flynn Downs thing, I'll come back to that, because you've been calling for 3-5-2 for a while. Surely with Flynn slotting in mid-game, that creates that 3-5-2. It pushes Matheson and Kenlock further forward, plays them as wingers.
But it does. But the only time Downs should drop in, into that 3, right, to help out the centre backs, right. Them 3 centre backs should be holding their position and push. That's why you play 3 centre backs, because one pushes forward, which pushes the holding midfielder up. Yeah. And that's but when we're in the attacking, when we've got the ball, we're on the emphasis to get the ball forward and to attack that team. When we've got a holding midfielder, middle of the field, that's where he's supposed to be. A holding midfielder, he's supposed to be in that hole. And because Downs was dropping in that hole, and yes, it is, we want our wing backs to get forward, but because Downs was dropping in there, their striker was sitting in that lovely little bit of space in between our 3 centre backs with Downs and our 2 midfielders in Dazelle and Harrop.
Absolutely. Mike, you're on Thursday night with me. I will see you then.
Leave you to it, guys.
Look after yourself. Love you as always. Stuart, Passion Rant, Stuart, the Lonies weren't great tonight. Who was really poor? Like we know they all were poor, but when these players were told were brought in to improve us, they were the missing pieces. Well, if they were the missing pieces, what the fuck? Yeah. Well, there you go. Go, Stuart. Hit it, mate.
Missing pieces for years.
Missing pieces? They're not missing pieces. They're absolutely shite.
Curtis, he's got a point. I mean, did you see enough from Harrop or Thomas tonight? I mean,
no.
At the end of the game, Flynn got sent off. but we could have been playing with about 6 players on that pitch. I didn't see one. Like I just saw a comment up there. Didn't see Sears or Lancaster in the game tonight. I genuinely forgot Sears even played. I genuinely forgot that he was
Didn't
playing.
even know he did.
Well, playing on the wing. It's crazy how much dead wood we have got in this squad. We have got one of the biggest squads in the division, but yet there is so much dead wood. And these loans, I mean, when Harrop came in, I saw a load of Preston fans going, well, a good run of games in a good League One side. if you expected Harrop to get
done already.
Any decent game time at us, not a good move for the lad. He will go back to Preston, and he will either get shipped out on a permanent or he'll go back on loan to another League One club. Because any player, I mean, I feel so bad for Matheson. Like why would you want to come here? I mean, it's I used to think, well, you've got like a big ground to play for, a lot of loyal fans who stand by, but you've not even got fans to play for. I don't imagine playing at Portman Road is that big of a great feel when there's no fans. You may as well play in a park. There'll be no atmosphere apart from Lambert shouting shite on the sidelines. But it's I mean, Thomas. I think everyone can see from Thomas awful. There's a reason why Barnsley haven't been starting him. There's a reason why Keenan Bennett's. I mean, I don't really know what he's done to be
injured
completely out of the squad. I think
he's been injured, isn't he? He's been injured. To be fair to the lad.
But again, I think what for the promise that I think Bennett showed. You don't need Thomas. You didn't need Thomas in the first place. If you have Bennett, just keep Lancaster in, and then have Bennett as you want on the bench that you want to whip on. We didn't need Thomas. Harrop, I mean, he might come good, but right now, like you say, he was. I don't think he really was in the game tonight. But the same could be said for about 6 of those players. The same could be said for about 6 or 7 of those players because we were just dreadful in general.
Reese Curtis, loanies are no better than what we have in the youth. Facebook user, credit to the Ipswich boss. He's already got the loanies playing the Lambert way. His Lambert way. It's not my Lambert way, but I can rush on that one. To give intro, the loanies were no worse than our players. Paul Lambert can't motivate them. He has lost the dressing room. Lee Bowers, I agree with everything he says.
He lost it months ago.
Yeah, well.
They were different, weren't they? Totally different. Matheson's first game, completely different player to what he was today. It's taken a couple of weeks and Lambert's already sapped that energy and that enthusiasm out of them, it seems.
Well, yeah, but he looked every bit the 18-year-old tonight, Stuart, didn't he? The player that, who is a young player, growing, developing, inconsistent, one moment, really good the next. You can't expect him to be... Yeah, exactly. You can't expect him to be the finished article, can you, Stuart, at 18 years of age?
No, you can't. Not with that sort of age. He's still in the learning process and...
Absolutely.
What else can you say, really? What else can you say?
Absolutely. I'm not expecting him to, obviously, he's 18. I'm not expecting him to perform faultlessly week in, week out. He's obviously going to make errors. He's going to, he's got a long way to go. But it just seems that, like the rest of them, they were just totally unenthused tonight and just weren't playing for the shirt,
Absolutely.
Sid, like he has just sapped that enthusiasm out of them.
Sid, Stuart, love you. Appreciate you. Look after yourselves. I have got business picking up. King, Callie, and the Cruncher, fresh off his 20 seconds, 10 more than he normally lasts on ITV Anglia.
Don't worry, I've had plenty of minutes on the radio. I've just been having a rant for years, so don't worry about it. Anyway.
Lay it down to us. Lay the truth down, Callie, first of all. Lay it down. What is tonight being all about?
It's just the same old shit, isn't it? We said it the other day that, the players he's brought in, certainly the attacking ones like Matheson's done okay. Can't really fault him. At the end of the day, 0-0. We kept a clean sheet, so defence did its job to a point. They can only do an outlet when you got decent players in front of them. I think Yates and Stewart's and people said it earlier, but Sears completely forgot he was playing. Right,
oh, shit.
Danny wrote 2.0. I think can we all agree he's shit, right? He doesn't need to play. We said it before at the beginning. Parrott's got the worst touch-off since when we've had some players with some terrible touches. It's just shit. And can we stop talking about Norwood as our best striker now? He has a chance. He bottle job.
Who's your best striker?
I'll go with Jackson. Big moments. He's had a couple of big moments to deliver. I think about Wimbledon. I think about Tranmere. You know, last minute decisions. You know, big kind of, especially with crowds. He's delivered. Norwood, what's he done?
Absolutely.
It's a whole bigger issue.
Lots of people saying, well done on the call-in. Owner, absolutely pathetic. Tell us what you said, Crunch. Lay it down for the people listening here.
Well, I said we can all blame Paul Lambert, right? I think we're all unanimous that he should go. But it doesn't matter.
He's never going to give up.
Rick Ashley, it's me hair. Oh, Sid. Did you see the tweet you put out about you said Matt Phillips looks like Piers Morgan, and then Sid tweeted saying,
I saw that.
Read, and he says he can't knock one out over her anymore because he'll think of me.
That's that hair transplant you've been having on your head, look, mate. It's all gone wild.
It's just look, I can't get a bloody haircut, can I? I'm not shaving it, not going bald. Yeah, I just said whoever comes in, you're still working under the same restrictions of the owner. It doesn't matter who it is.
So does that mean we don't make any change? Does that mean we just say, oh, okay, Sarah?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because Paul Lambert is a really poor football manager. And I think, Martin, we've all been telling you, you finally you were talking about me having a bang on the head. You'd had a bang on the head long ago, keep backing him and putting that fucking poster up. Where is that now? Where is it?
It's just sitting over there. It's just sitting over there.
Yeah.
You need to burn that now.
My job is to bring balance, right? And while there was one person, just one, wanting Lambert in, I had to bring that balance to have that voice. But if Lee Anderson says it's over, then fuck me, it's over.
Well,
it's gone.
Did we all not want Norwood to score when he went through 1-on-1? Because I was praying he missed.
I was doing my Tesco order.
No, I wanted. Listen. I wanted him to win. I wanted him to score. I still wanted to win. I'm an Ipswich fan. I still wanted to win, regardless, right? I wanted him to score. He's a bottle job, right? That's what it is. You can't do it. One-on-ones or whatever. Nah, not the one. To quote you, Crunch, not for me. That's Norwood, not for me.
I think the scariest next step for this club is, I mean, you get all the speculation online, like the Cowleys, they'd be interested. I mean, I'm not being funny, but I have no faith in Evans to choose the right one. I mean, back in the day, we had Alan Kirbishley linked with every single role that was there. He's free at the moment, and I genuinely wouldn't put it past him to be getting it next. The scariest next step is who replaces Lambert, because whilst I don't think you can get any worse than what we're going through right now, I'm sure Evans has something up his back pocket to do another two fingers to the fans. He's done it previously, and it'll happen again. I don't trust him to make the right decision. There are many good coaches out there right now, but he ain't got the balls to go get a decent coach. He's just, that's the scariest bit now, is who do we get next? And
it'll be Phil Parkinson.
Nigel Worthington.
It'll be Phil Parkinson. Watch. Well,
this is it. The brain trust that makes the decisions will still be in place. So you're absolutely right. But what do we do with that? Because we can't sit here and say, well, because otherwise you might as well just give up, Crunch. You know, you talked yesterday about not giving money to Hull. Well, then in that case, don't give money to anybody, because the club's just irrelevant. It's dead. It's in the water.
If he picked Phil Parkinson, no chance. I would not go to that stadium while he was manager. No way.
It's Evans making the decision. Like Yatesy said, yeah, what do you expect to happen? When has Marcus Evans made a good decision regarding Ipswich Town Football Club?
He hasn't. And he blamed us for it. He hasn't, and he blamed us for it. He blamed that. He won't be pressured into the same mistakes. Who pressured him last time? The fans. He was almost putting the finger in and trying to absolve himself, Crunch, of any blame in that.
I said on the radio, Martin, that Mick done a really good job, and Mick carried the can for the owner. Mick was a firefighter. He was loans here, free transfers here, and in the end, he got fed up because he was carrying the fans were getting on at Mick when it was Evans all along.
Yeah, and the thing is like, but that's the difference with. And I'm not here to defend Mick.
The problem with him was he didn't let us know that.
Sorry, carry on.
Go on, Neil.
The problem with the fact that McCarthy done such a great job of, on such a small budget, and he was hiding the fact that Evans was the problem. I was crying out for him just to admit that was the case and Evans to be the problem. We wouldn't have got on McCarthy's back half as much if he was actually truthful with us and told us Evans is the problem. But he wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
So
but don't you
therefore,
think
he
that?
caused the problem for himself.
Yeah, but don't you think that there's never been? There's what we know about, lots of football clubs who have a rift between managers and directors or managers and owners or whatever. They've never come out during their tenure to say, it's not going on well. This is what the owner's like. No one's going to come out. You wouldn't come out against your own boss if something wasn't right at work. Do you know what I mean?
I think Hurst tried. I think Hurst tried because I remember him coming out and saying a lot needs to change at this football club for it to be successful. We all knew that that Hurst was a period of transition where, unfortunately, I think we needed to stick by him. I mean, he didn't produce the results, but I do think we wouldn't be in any worse of a position if it was Hurst now. But I think Hurst did say at one point, he said a lot needs to change at this club for it to be successful. And I think he did say it in a roundabout way, but he's not going to come out and attack the man who's unfortunately paying his wages directly, is he? So,
but it's not just even that. It's like the PE teacher doing his however many jobs he's doing, right? Lee O'Neill. No one's got a bit of business nous or operational nous to be okay, hold on. Like today, Flynn Downs. The first thing I'd be doing, right? Look at what the referee did. Rescind that red card. I need him available. No one's going to think like that at the club. We're just so docile. We're submissive. Do you know what I mean? It's okay, we expected to beat. Someone said it earlier. We're little old Ipswich.
Curtis, I really appreciate it. Love the artwork. Hopefully speak soon. I'm going to bring in Lloyd Gladding. Lloyd, look, is it time we stopped talking about Mick McCarthy? Because is it Mick McCarthy's fault we treat the press at this football club with absolute disdain? No. Is it his fault we're sitting 11th in League One? No. Is it Paul Hurst? No. It's Paul Lambert and it's Marcus Evans. It's time we tackled those issues. Because look, the press, how we treat the press, for example, is that acceptable?
I think a lot of the buck stops with Marcus Evans, to be honest. I think that there's still, I come on the show a couple of months ago, I think that the philosophy in the club is still so wrong. I mean, the Sky Sports record, the Derby record, the beating the sides in League One, even in our relegation year, where the Millwalls of Red and the poor sides that come to Bolton Road and we lost them. I mean, there's so many things that are back in the club that are still so wrong. Even look at the Chambers situation. I think Chambers, everything that he does for the club is great, but he's got 5 scholars or whatever living in his house. That's wrong. That's not normal. I think there's so many things that's wrong. And in professional football, even in League One, there's so many little fine margins in football that make a big difference. And all them little fine margins we're getting wrong. And I think a lot of that starts with Marcus Evans. Now, I was listening to the Cruncher the other day talking about I think it was a Newcastle similarity, and I couldn't agree with that more, sort of in the idea of we're thinking we're a big club and that sort of thing, but we don't earn that respect, but the little fine margins. And I just think there's so many things that are above wrong with the club that's got to change first. We've got this right. I think if you change Paul Lambert, I think we get a short-term solution, and I think things will be better. I think there's a good side there that should be competing, but I think there's so many still things wrong with the club, and the point that the players are not necessarily playing for the manager at the moment, and they're sort of giving up. Downs, Dazelle, Kenlock, them sort of players, do they have that excuse? No. If I'm playing for Ipswich Town, and my manager's not giving me the all, I still give 110% because it's my football club and I want the absolute best of this club. Absolutely. And I think the likes of Downs and Dazelle have to step up and start becoming men. There's too many football players in this club that are little boys and that want to hide behind the media and hide behind Paul Lambert. Become a man. This is your football club. There are thousands of fans that have given their all for this club. And Ipswich fans don't really want that much. All they want is some pride, some joy, and to give it something. We don't want top 4 Champions League. We don't want top 6. We barely even really want Premier League football anymore. We're probably quite happy with mid-table, top of the end Championship football. Become some men and have some pride in our football club. The pride has completely gone out of this club, and the blue action thing. People have their opinions on blue action, but they're fighting for their club, regardless if you think that's probably the right thing to do. Regardless if you think that they're doing enough, but at least they're trying to fight for their club and they're trying to do some change. I think there's a lot of people who've gone down Portman Road tonight from 9:30 was the call, but just Paul Lambert is the easy option. I think the Mick McCarthy area was a non-sustainable thing. So bringing in free agents, bringing in loans, and I think we recruited very well at the time there, but it wasn't sustainable, and we're now getting found out.
Yeah, absolutely. Go on, Callie.
I was just going to say that sustainability stems down to one person, and that's the way Evans is running the club. And in terms of Evans and McCarthy, McCarthy was different, right? He had a whole team behind him, right? Proper people, proper with skin in the game. He was our assistant manager, Stuart Taylor. Go look at his credentials. What's he ever done, right? And he's going to be our assistant manager apparently right here. And then the other thing is that when we've got, Ben gave the great analogy earlier about the gangrene and chopping your arm off. You've got to get rid of Lambert first, tackle one issue at a time. Because I said a couple of weeks ago after the Blackpool game, I said, they look like a team that wanted to play. Get the right kind of manager in there, get the right something in there, right coaching staff, and we could be competitive, right? And then you can kind of tackle the things with Evans and all the rest of it. But I don't know.
The thing with McCarthy, Rich, it was a sticking plaster. And if you take the Murphy purple patch, which really was only 1 year under McCarthy, it always was a firefight. It always was getting the best you can, getting a Jonathan Douglas and hoping he's still a little bit of what he was, getting Giles Coke and trying to get a tune out of him, Jay Tab playing above his station. It always was this huge firefight, wasn't it? It was never, as rosy as perhaps we think it is now.
Well, I think a lot with Mick, when we had the decent season, he liked being the underdog, didn't he?
Yeah,
a little bit. I think that suited him. Look, obviously he was paid very well for what he done. He kept us up when he came in, and then he did improve us. But look, we can go back to Mick. I think we'd have to live in the present, don't we? Really, because we can
100.
say this happened.
Speaking of which, Mick Mills on the radio apparently has said his days are numbered. Paul Lambert's days are numbered. So that's a club legend coming out and saying that.
Another one.
He's spot on, isn't he?
So that's 2 in 2 days then. So Darren Bent yesterday and now Mick Mills, both saying the same thing.
And I always think, Crunch, maybe you can tell me if we agree or not, when legends start saying it, like tonight's commentary, for example, they know what goes on. They hear, they speak, they know people. Like
They're taking a piss out of him. Brenner and Mick Mills are taking a piss out of the manager. And it was the highlight of the night. When I was listening to that, I'm having a little chuckle thinking, look, it's become that bad. Look, we're sitting here. Were you actually watching that second half? I weren't. Look, I've got a great tweet. I was flicking through Twitter, mine. Guy called Ian Bloomfield. I'll just read it out, and I thought he's nailed it spot on. He tweeted, "An embarrassment to the club, an embarrassment to the badge, an embarrassment to our history, an embarrassment to themselves. But more than that, an embarrassment to those who have invested a lifetime of love, money, and time. The supporters, the lowest we have ever been." Now, I'd like someone to show that to our owner. I really would.
He'll probably see it and he'll just put it in the spam bin or whatever. Do you know what I mean? You don't pay no mind.
Did you listen to Simon Jordan this morning, Callie?
I try not to, but I did.
No, but look, I know he divides opinion, but he speaks a lot of sense. And when he was saying he turned up at a Premier League meeting, there was him, Theo Pafitas, all these other owners. Ipswich, who turned up? We had Simon Clegg turn up, and he doesn't know why Marcus has bought a football club. Is it a little toy for him now? I just think it's like a toy you've had for Christmas. You had your fun out of it, and now you're just leaving it up the corner. It's run out of batteries, and you can't really be bothered anymore with it.
How many people actually think we hit rock bottom yet? Because I don't think we have yet.
No,
not yet, mate. We got a long way to go, mate. Come on. Listen, I'm going to see us playing the Nuneaton Town and Leamington in about 10 years' time. All right, so I'll see us around the corner.
If we get there.
Apparently, Russell Clayton says even Frank on Suffolk is admitting he's wavering. Fuck me. Everyone to the lifeboats. If Frank is wavering, then this shit just got real. Where do you sit on this one, Lloyd? Paul Mays. It's easy to blame Evans, but he does not pick the team, the formation, tactics, or changes during the game.
Yeah, there's short-term things. Obviously, the Paul Lambert does that. He is his responsibility to get the best out of the side. Even if it is his side or it isn't his side, I mean, he's been long enough now to say it is his side. I think that's totally down to him now. He has to take responsibility. It's his side. He's had transfer windows to do that. I mean, he's not necessarily had the money to inject, but there's not that many sides in League One that have had money to inject. But I still think a lot of the bigger picture comes down to Paul Lambert and the people that he's got in around the club, from the young academy all the way up to the people that he's had in the club for a long time. There's a philosophy in the club that it's acceptable to lose cup games. It's a philosophy in the club. It's okay to lose FA Cup games. It's okay to lose games on Sky. It's okay to play Norwich and an away point is good enough. And all these things, when you keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, eventually your standards have come down. And us fans have done it now. Us fans now say, it's okay. It's okay. Like me as a fan, we should have beaten Northampton 3-0 tonight. I understand also that we're a League One side. We can't keep saying we're a big club anymore. We should be winning tonight and we should be dominating that football game. But we also go as fans now, it's okay, because Crewe aren't a bad side. Or Oxford, they're a good side the weekend. They're in good form. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. No, it's not okay. No, it's not. We should be in the top 2 of this league. We should be competing with Sunderland and Peterborough. It's not okay to be. It's okay to compete with these. We play away to Crewe. Our Crewe aren't a bad side. It's okay. It's not a bad point. It's Crewe Alexander. Fuck off. Get on with it. Get 3 points and get over. Stop saying it's okay. It's not.
But Lewis, you had to listen to Stuart Taylor last week. Was basically saying it's all right if you don't beat the top 6 because we can beat everybody else. That's just. But look. We can blame Lambert, we can blame Evans, Martin, but the players are getting away with it. Massively.
I've been saying that for months, and you keep telling me you can't sack 11 players. I wish you fucking could, because this bunch will be the first in the queue. I mean, let's make history.
Let's be real.
Did they make any difference?
Did your mate Thomas play?
Who?
Your mate Thomas. Did he play?
I'll tell you what. Everybody said to me, give him a chance after half a game. I told you then. He was shit then, and he's fucking shit now. Get him out. Send him back to Barnsley. I'll drive him. I'll go and pick him up tonight.
Paul Lambert, Callie, wasn't good enough. Not been good enough for a number of weeks. Collectively not good. Whole thing, the way everything is. Couldn't ask any more effort-wise. What do you think now?
Sorry, I was listening to that bullshit. I fell asleep. It's just the same shit, innit? Like, if you're accepting responsibility now, but if you accept... I don't know. But yeah, if you're accepting responsibility, so I've got a team that works under me. If they're constantly shit and I'm expecting responsibility, I'm fired. Yeah. I've got to go. I've got to answer to something. So, how can he say that? And then, I don't know. But it sounds, he's coming out, and I think he sounds a bit comfortable the way he's saying it, to a point that he knows he's not going anytime soon. Evans is backing him. I'm confident Evans is backing him till the end of the season. Now the salary cap
isn't Crunch. He says everything is the way everything is. What do you mean by? What do you think he means by that? The way everything is.
I don't know. What I'm looking at is the next 4 games. How many points do you think we're taking from
0?
Oxford, Hull, Doncaster, and Accrington?
We've had it. Didn't test the goal until Norwood came on. Looked very nervy. Whether yesterday affected them, I don't know. Didn't think they were Ipswich fans. Didn't think they were Ipswich fans.
Everyone said.
One at a time.
Go on.
Carry on. I was just saying, everyone's saying it yesterday that he's going to come out and use the excuses. It's that book of Lambert's excuses. It's just any excuse now. Right, he uses red cards as excuses. He uses, I know people have got COVID and other teams have got COVID, but teams are playing with the bare bones and getting wins. We've got 50-odd signed professionals and we can't string a win together. We couldn't score in a brothel. We're bad. So,
Completely agree with that. Sorry, Lloyd?
We got Drian. Don't worry. Good recruitment. Don't worry. We got Hawkins to come back.
Absolutely.
Season saved. As soon as he comes back, season saved.
He's brought out the Celtic quote. This sounds like a Paul Lambert bingo game we could play every week. Get the bingo card. He's brought out the Celtic.
When's the pressure one?
To be fair, Christopher Martin has been a sort of a level-headed supporter for a number of weeks now. But even him, I've read the comments tonight, is coming out and saying it's not good enough. Clearly, a couple of random dog walkers with blue flares chanting Lambert out. He's played for huge clubs. George Nunn mentioned how tough it is at Dortmund. So I think he wants it. Oh Jesus! I mean, what do you say?
He's almost trying to justify himself and say, "Look, this is what I did, guys. Like, please, like, remember, I can be something." It's like, nah, man, you're a fraud. Go.
Lambert has claimed it is an accumulation of years gone by.
Yeah,
it sounds to me like he's throwing Marcus Evans under the bus. Like he's saying, if I'm going to go down on my sword, fine. But I'm going to go down and do what Neil was saying earlier. I'm going to say a few things. Things aren't great. Accumulation of years. It's almost like, to me, I don't know what's about you, Lloyd. It's almost like he's saying, look, this is Evans, really. It's not really my fault.
It's so rotten there. Like, I think a good manager would have this team at the top of the League One. But what you've also got to remember, right? Like you're going back to the comments, then if Ipswich keep beating these sides, not even the top 6, we could still get the top 6. Okay, we get the top 6, and let's say we fluke the playoffs. What happens when we get to the Championship? It'd be an absolute embarrassment. It'd be an absolute embarrassment. Like it's okay to say, we can beat some of the poorer sides and things like that, but it'll be an absolute embarrassment. And the club, I think, is rotten. And there's so many statistics that back that through the physios, through the fitness, through not being able to beat Norwich, through not being able to beat the big sides in League One. But someone just said then, our next 4 games, you've got to be worried. I think Doncaster, Accrington, and Oxford were mentioned. I mean. Doncaster, Accrington, Oxford. But we're worried about them now. Like, it shows how far we've fallen.
Apparently, he said 4 points or a couple of games in hand. I don't know if he said that or not, but that's what's being said in the chat. So
it's one game in hand. It's one game in hand. It's not a couple of games in hand. And yeah, we are 4 points off Sunderland.
It doesn't matter. You could have 8 games in hand, Callie. You ain't gonna fucking get anywhere near it. It wouldn't matter.
No, but I'm just saying, he's just chatting shit again, isn't he?
It really is. So if you could sum up today in 2 words as we close. Crunch, 2 words to sum up today, please.
Sad times.
Sad times. I love you, man. Lloyd?
Depressed. 1 word.
Depressed. 1 word. Fuck me. Lloyd's so depressed he can't find 2. He literally can't find the second one. How about really depressed? That's the second one. Callie?
Groundhog Day.
Absolutely. Steve?
More drink.
I like that. So, Crunch, well done this afternoon on your ITV Anglia appearance. We have a star amongst us.
Do not
need an autograph.
You know they hate us on there anyway, don't they? They love fucking the old scum, don't they? So they're only going to put a little bit on about us anyway.
They really do. They really do. And I remember where you started, though. Yeah, remember who gave you your first break in this business, kid. All right. Remember when you're famous. All right.
I was actually talking to Donny today, and he remembered the Lambert out, the Magilton out protest. Did you know, Martin, that even made the end of season DVD? Did you know that?
Of course it did. It was the highlight of the year. That was a bad. See,
ain't hindsight a wonderful thing, though?
No, because we were told, we were promised so much of Marcus Evans. So we all had the expectation of we were owned by a multimillionaire who was here to splash the cash, and we were bringing players in, and we weren't getting the best out of them. Now we suddenly see this owner as our lifeboat, as our saviour in choppy waters.
That was 2009. Look where we are now.
It's similar to how Wolves were promised it, weren't they, when they made the change as well? They were kind of promised this big luxury thing,
Wolves.
they've had European football.
Don't forget, Wolves had a bad owner. They had Steve Morgan. They had him, a property developer, and then they sold to Fossen. That's what we need. We need that next buyer. Do you know what I mean?
But Derek Bowden did promise Champions League football. He promised Champions League football.
Promote this over in China. Promote this show over in China. Maybe not on these results, but let's get some Chinese investors.
I'm already losing Cruncher to Donovan Blake and ITV. I can't lose him to Chinese TV as well. That makes Sundays harder, wouldn't it, Crunch?
Let's not talk about the Chinese, eh?
Okay, right. With love, with care. We'll see you Thursday, 8:30 for the Thursday night preview show. We'll be looking at Oxford. Joining me will be the Milk Train Man Ben and Mr. Fisherman Mike Brown. But until Thursday, look after yourself.
Burn the poster. Burn the poster.
Get it done.
Yeah, are you gonna have a burning ceremony?